We often hear from clients, I'm just not sure what's needed for the future. I'm really thinking about how do I create development programs that are not just about enroll, but are preparing leaders for the future? How do I deal with leader burnout? And really that term of unconscious bossing, which is when individual contributors say to themselves, I don't want a leadership role. There's more challenge that comes to that. And so I'm going to opt out of leadership. And that's not what we want. So we really want to think about, in terms of practical next steps, is outlining how do we get to understand and predict what's needed for the next 3 to 5 years, but also be responsive as we move forward and not just focus on the general leadership skills, but really narrow it down to what are the most critical skills. So to highlight this, I want to talk to you about a couple of organizations where we've seen have really addressed this challenge and prepared themselves for the future. One is GE Healthcare, which when they became an independent entity, they had a clean slate. And what they really wanted to do was think about how do we prepare ourselves for the future, not just jump in and start offering development programs, but really pause and ask the question, what kind of leadership will fuel our future? And they used executive interviews and cultural insights to build a leadership framework that aligned with their strategy. Here, another organization where we've seen take this head on is Entergy, and building a very powerful approach where they aligned leadership development with their path to premier strategy. And they did a lot of different things in terms of aligning their development to the critical needs. But the way they got to those critical needs was by looking at their competency framework and aligning success profiles to really understand what is it that we need for the future. Senior leadership being a critical component that as they move forward. They also use data to make decisions. So they had their leadership data, but they really activated on it and started to figure out how will they understand the gaps and then how do they address those gaps. So when you think about these two powerful stories, what we can learn is that developing what future-ready leader looks like for your organization and using that data wisely.